Hey, so last video from somewhere around the beginning of this year was didn't cover a lot, and even though I did plan to continue it, and when I reinstalled Windows, I couldn't find the files of where I saved it. So in general, I just wanted to make a full kind of webinar kind of video about this. Yeah, oh yeah, yes. Boring. But I think it's the best way to learn this kind of software where there's just so many things that is just like that, okay? So this video is going to be kind of uncut, unedited mostly. I might edit or speed up some parts. I apologize in advance if I stutter or become hard to understand at some points. Just either DM me on Discord or leave a comment below if you have questions, okay? Uh, do support me on Ko-fi or Patreon if you'd like to see more QGIS or art related videos, because I'd be happy to make them as long as there is the demand. Now, there is a fan in the background, but OBS, Streamlabs should cut off the sound. What can come as a consequence is my sentences might get cut in the beginning or the end. Hope that won't happen, but just saying, because this is supposed to be a long video without me having any idea how it recorded it all. I did some tests just to make sure that my voice is going through. I just don't know how it's gonna do in the long term. So just keep that in mind. That's out of the way. I do want to cover some of the topics I covered in a previous video, so you don't have to rewatch that or watch that. Depends. So I want to explain first what QGIS is, or GIS in particular. So let's see. GIS refers to a Geographic Information System. I used to call it Geospatial Information System. I don't know which one is more correct. I'm not really educated in that. Even though I graduated in multimedia and real estate, you would think that I would know this kind of stuff. But no, I was never really formally educated in this software. So bear in mind, it's not going to be something super professional. I don't know what that even means. It's used by landowners, researchers, and the environment folk. Okay? And just by itself, you can think of it. That's what Google Maps is built from. I don't know if that's how they do it. I assume they do by using some sort of GIS they have programmed themselves. But in this particular instance, we're going to be using QGIS. So many professionals use ArcGIS, which is hella expensive. And if you want, by all means, use that. You can probably use some of the knowledge from this video about it, but I would suggest to look up something else. I'm pretty sure there's billions of tutorials by actually educated people, because only educated people can afford this kind of software. Hello? Anyway, so QGIS is an open source and free variant of ArcGIS, I guess, or just any GIS software. There's probably more out in the world than just QGIS and ArcGIS, but like I said, I'm not the person to ask. Today we're going to be focusing on world building specifically and using QGIS for it. So before we continue towards actually working on it, I want to make sure that you understand that there are many different methods than QGIS or just GIS in general. Well, it depends. GIS can be those softwares we're going to talk about, but there is Campaign Cartographer and all the other pro fantasy software. They, in my opinion, they're okay, but their UI is kind of outdated. It can be laggy at points, and for me, in my experience, it has crashed a lot, but it's been a while since I used it. I don't know, it could have been my previous PC. Now, there's also, you can also draw by hand or by Photoshop, which is cool, I guess. It's the most beautiful way to draw it, to make a map, and I would just do that if I didn't come across the issues which come from drawing with hands and Photoshop, which we're going to discuss in a bit. I'm not going to take too long, don't worry about it. Then there is also WonderDraft and other similar software and websites. I forgot what it was called. Was it called Inkscape or no? Inkernet, right. Both of these are paid, but I think WonderDraft you pay only once. They're fine. However, once again, I don't think they can let you go into the detail, which I will discuss as well in a bit. And there is also Asgard map generator. I should have prepared that on the side of a screen. Once you open Asgard, you get something like that. Okay. You got a map, you can zoom in. You can zoom in pretty far, not too far. I mean, this is the most you can zoom in, and you don't really see a lot of city detail inside of it, like as in the buildings and stuff. It does generate you some stuff here as well, but what I wanted to talk to you about is a good intro to QGIS by itself is if you go here, press export, and go to the, where was it, GeoGIS on stuff, there's a wiki page, you click that, and wow, look at that. There's a whole QGIS tutorial just for you. Okay, here's the thing I want to tell you. My internet download speed is horrible. My upload is unaffected by, I'm downloading it at like 50 kilobytes per second, so I'm not gonna be bothering with this. We can wait a little bit. But okay, just check this out. If you are too confused by my tutorial or guide or whatever you want to call it, just go to this one. Just go through this. It's gonna explain to you in the most basic form, and then if you have more questions, you can just Google. A lot of people use this actual software, and you're gonna find a lot of answers to your questions. Don't worry about it. Anyway, if you're still with me, we can talk about why use QGIS or ArcGIS, whatever, instead of other software. So, if you don't want to keep switching between different file versions of your map, for example, like the city map or the country map, the realm map, the kingdom map, you want to have it all in one place. That is one of the reasons, okay? Also, if you want to navigate to a map like in Google Maps, so you can zoom in, zoom out, city detail, building detail, country detail, without lagging the living out of your computer. Safe to say, this is very lightweight program, as in you can have a lot of polygons or vectors, vertices, however you want to call it, and not lag your computer to hell because of the way uh, this program optimizes the geometry. Uh, don't take my word for it because I have not tested this on a slow PC. I've just tested this with a lot of vertices. So, grain of salt, whatever you guys call it. Also use it if you want to have a free or open source alternative, which is specifically about QGIS. We're not talking about ArcGIS at this point. You can see the source codes on their GitHub or GitLab, I don't know. If you're knowledgeable about code, you can make sure that they're not adding some viruses or whatever to your system. I mean, I'm not gonna say go ahead and download this software, look at it yourself if you want. Don't trust my word for it. Check Reddit, check Google, check Stack Overflow, check everything. Make sure you're. I mean, I don't know. I'm not gonna legally tell you to just download it or whatever, you know. And also get it if you want to do mathematical or geospatial work on your world. So, such as, for example, your population of your cities combined in a country, stuff like that, or distance from a city to a city, street to a street or something. Like if you're doing a D&D campaign, if you want to calculate the exact distance of the road to travel for using your fast travel rules, so you can even calculate how much on a carriage is going to take and have it all displayed on your screen however you want, if you want to. Now, what I have said that why should you use QGIS? Maybe let's talk why not to use it, like the instances, and I have listed two here. So, who is QGIS not for? Anyone who considers any software listed before to fit their needs. There's really no need to dig into QGIS if you're not looking to spend months on your world's geology, borders, and settlement details. And anyone who prefers a hand-painted look to the maps, it's not impossible to pull off in QGIS, but certainly harder than many other software which offer that look. I'm reading my tiny text. And if the qualities are listed are still okay with you, let's get started. Okay, so I strongly recommend that whenever you're working on any kind of project, you have some kind of backup system, some version control, especially for QGIS projects, because you will mess up and you will want to revert. Very likely we're going to be working on this every day like I used to. Now work on it like twice or 3 times a week. Now, I suggest GitHub. You can use whatever the hell you want. If you're a geek, use, I don't know, some kind of Linux distribution version control system version 5 billion. I don't care. Just get that shit backup, okay? Thank you. So what I do is I use GitHub. You don't have to. You can use whatever you want. I'm gonna keep repeating myself. You commit. You don't have to write details. It's only you working on it. So unless you want to invite someone, then you can start writing a bit details in your description or whatever. And push to origin, and your changes are saved. Now, how to create a GitHub project, I'm not going to talk about. Google it, whatever, just add a local repository, create a project first, find where you're gonna store your project. So yeah, okay, let's just get started. Less talking, more working. So I'm not gonna use GitHub for this one, just this is just for you guys. Whew! Okay, finally. So we're at this software, we're gonna start new thingy. And we're gonna be, oh my god, look at this black, horrible screen. Now, your interface might not look like this. So I'm gonna right click right here and just pause here and make sure that all these panels, which are ticked for you, and unticked for you. Okay, thank you very much. Okay. Most importantly, I think you're gonna be using either advanced digitizing. You're probably not gonna need mesh digitizing. Yeah, just whatever. I just like to have it all available. So we're gonna create a new project. I don't think we can save it, right? Yeah. Oh, 1 or 2 GURPS. All right. Let's go to my. Ooh, I'm gonna dox myself on this one. So I created a folder already. We're gonna be using this A Worlds 2022 folder, and we're gonna name our worlds A Worlds 2022. Oh, actually, fantasy world, because we are making a fantasy world because, well, that's what most world builders want. However, this GIS is basically made with Earth people in mind, like people geo working on Earth, if that makes sense. So this is where you have like a Google Maps thing. You're not gonna have this open. You're not gonna have Google Maps. I'm already giving you bad examples, okay? The only thing you're gonna see in XYZ tiles here in the browser is OpenStreetMap and Maps and Global Terrain. These Google stuff is not gonna be added. I have added it myself by just clicking XYZ, new tiles, new connection. And here in URL, I would put the this URL, for example. You can Google all these links if you want, but I'm gonna show each of them if you do want to copy them. And let's see, why would you want it now? Because we're working on fantasy stuff, but maybe you do. So if you do, you do. Okay, good. We are gonna first of all go to properties, change something in CRS. Coordinate reference system, we want to select EQI, rectangular, and we have to go find Earth, because there's all the other planets here, or just Earth, rectangular, like that. And we're going to be using graphic clone 0. I'm still not sure what clone means. I think it's gonna flip your coordinates around, but don't take my word for it. I think this is the Australian version. Don't ask me about it. And click OK or apply, because we might have to do something here in general. Right. Make sure that your measurements are like this. It could be like map units by default or something else, or I don't remember what it was, but it's gonna mess some things up in a later stage. So just make sure this is like that, and map units, meters, and okay, let's get to it. Oof. So first we need a foundation. I would say it could be a sea, just the whole ocean system, maybe the whole waters. So what I'm gonna do, I'm not sure. Do we want to kind of make a Google Maps kind of style, or do we want to kind of make our own? Because here's the thing. Google Maps is a copyright in itself. You're gonna be taking colors from it. You're gonna make it similar to it. You might get in trouble if you try to sell it. But maybe for educational purposes, we're gonna do some of the stuff similarly. Okay. I have Google Maps on the upper side on the monitor, as in like that. So I might be picking colors. I'm gonna show you how to do it as the time goes. But for the sake of everything, let's change our colors just a little bit. So just to make sure. We're tweaking things a little bit, at least. Okay? It's still not fair use. It's still far away from fair use, but let's just do it. Okay, we haven't done anything yet at this point, and we're like 21 minutes in. Holy balls. Okay. So go to layer, create a layer, new shapefile layer, and let's go to browse right here. I'm gonna open my overworld. We're gonna go to ours, and we're gonna name this, say, water, just water. Geometry type a polygon. I hope these make sense to you. Points, line string, and polygon are the ones you're going to be using most. And in here, we want to change our CRS to project CRS, which is our equirectangular. God, I need some water. Hold on. So dry. Sorry that I speak through my nose a lot. It's something I kind of grew up with. You have to deal with that. Now, this is it. We don't need to add any fields here. We're going to talk about them a bit later if you haven't watched the previous video. And we're going to cover the entire map with it. The thing is, QGIS likes to give errors, not crash, but gives errors if you kind of go out of the boundaries when it doesn't know what to do anymore. So what we're going to do here is double click an OpenStreetMap, let it load up, put a water layer on top, and we're gonna try to cover most of this earth with water. Now this is assuming that your world is the same diameter as Earth, but yeah, okay. So here I have this thing here, toggle streaming mode, and it's turned on for me basically. I will press R to turn it off because we don't need it. By default, it should be off for you as well. It's just I've been working on this earlier. Therefore, we have this. It should make sure it's this simple because you don't want a lot of polygons for water. Okay, just want 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. It doesn't have to be perfect. Just don't worry about it. Okay, please don't worry about it. Okay, please don't worry about it. Please don't worry about it. Now we're gonna double click water. We're gonna give it some nice watery colors. There's something nice here. Absolutely topo water. But we already discussed what we want to kind of take a style of Google Maps. So let me zoom out on my other monitor and go to symbology here. In fill, instead of fill, go to simple fill. And in the fill color, you click this. And you should probably be open at one of these windows, but I urge you to click on this one, the eyedropper, if you have used Photoshop at least for 5 seconds, or MS Paint. You click sample color, and it can sample color from whatever. and even your other monitor, which is what we're gonna be doing. We're gonna go to my other monitor and pick a color of a sea or the ocean or whatever. It should be the same color at specific zoom level. Click, and let's change just a little bit and press OK. Very nice. And OK. Beautiful. I don't know why there's Antarctica here. Yeah. We don't talk about that. One more thing I kind of forgot to mention. In the settings, go to options and make sure in your network, in cache settings, inside of your directory, somewhere on your hard drive, not your SSD, I suggest, or just, I don't care, whatever, use whatever. What's important is you don't, it's not the same directory as your project, because this is going to be a lot of big files and you don't want to upload that. This is a cache. If you don't know what cache is, I don't know, just click away from this video at this point. Anyway, size, I suggest about this size. There is a limit, you can't put too much. I don't know why, just like that. It's the cache is gonna help you with like zooming in and zooming out and loading things faster once you have loaded it at least once. One thing to know that is that cache kind of works between projects, as in if you open another project, you're not creating a new cache, you're going to be overwriting your current one. So just keep that in mind. Okay, let's just get to this. We've kind of been talking too much. Now we have a sea, and we can kind of create continents. You should consider plate tectonics and everything else, but not when creating continents. Here's the thing. Plates shift a lot. Like damn a lot, and they change and they die off kind of, and they merge and they do a lot of crazy wacky things. I highly suggest you check out Professor Dave Explains on YouTube. He is currently on a roll with geology courses, as in it's currently his focus, if I'm not mistaken. He does a lot of other stuff. Super entertaining to watch, like super straight to the point, very high quality videos about science in general, just chemistry, geology, biology, economy, social sciences, everything. Check it out. If you don't know how to create continents, this is not a place to learn it. But once again, it's not so much about plate tectonics. It's about, for this, it's about making it look right, okay? It needs to look just right and avoid looking at too much like curve, okay? You don't want kind of European looking and American looking continents. You want something unique-ish as much as possible, okay? Because there is this trope inside of cartographers guilds and all the other kind of communities which deal with this kind of world building, the map making, is that we tend to create things which are very close to us too hard. And it's nothing wrong with us. It avoids the uncanny valley in a way a lot of times. But as you may know, uncanny valley is a middle point between perfection, well, or at least great work, and bad work. I don't know what I was going about, so sorry I forgot. This is me being autistic again. And let's create a continent. Yay! Okay? So I'm not sure how I want to handle this. We're not gonna really be formatting this as a Google Maps thing because this is just continents. Continents are a bit of a thingy. So let's say continents. So I'm kind of losing my. I can see why people don't make very long videos. We can lose a lot of focus and we start talking about a lot of weird stuff. All the same settings: polygon, project CRS, file encoding. Never touch that unless you're doing some different language stuff. Oops, and I just did that. What did I just do? I never touched that in my entire life. What the hell? Oh no. What have I done? Which one was it? I hope I'm not gonna regret this. Anyway, continents should have a name. So in a new field, we're gonna name it name and add. A length of 80 should be fine. Make sure not to put the length too big because if this is just storing a lot of zeros in your binary, if that makes sense. I think so. That's how it works in programming. When you make an array too big and it's not being used, it's still being created. So okay. Do we need anything else? We don't need anything else. Click OK, and press this toggle editing button, and add polygon feature. And we're gonna be using stream digitizing now. You're gonna press R. Or you can just click this and stream digitizing. I'm not sure if it's R by default. If it's not, make sure it's in your keybinds. God, I'm so unorganized. I'm sorry if you don't have a shortcut. Just make sure it's about. I think it's default. Don't take my word for it. I have reinstalled this software a couple times on different PCs, but a couple times is only 2 times, and I really don't remember. So what this is gonna do, before we do anything, make sure our streaming tolerance is about 20 pixels. To explain what this is, I'm gonna put this to 1 pixel, but don't do it. Don't repeat after me, okay? You can. I just do whatever, okay? Just do whatever. And I'm gonna draw. Kind of like, ooh. Always something penis shaped. Anyway, did we press enter? Doesn't seem like it's. This is still 20 pixels. Sorry about that. I don't know why it's like that. But make it 20. What if we make it 50, huh? Seems like it's not doing anything, okay? Just do whatever, I don't care. Leave it at 20 pixels, I don't know, up to you. Anyway, continents. Okay, now I was talking about all this aesthetic, but now I'm gonna make a horrible job doing it. So sure, let's create a cute hero with a cape or a hand if you say so. I have done a horrible job. Just draw something, okay? I spend a lot of time on this kind of stuff and usually sketch on paper. I kind of want to speed this up. So draw something like this. Put the ID as 1, name as banana. And it looks like something. So let's make it white instead. It's maybe grayish, kind of like that. Okay. And let's get rid of the outline. We don't need the outline. It's continents. We don't need outline for this. Right now, for this tile. If you haven't noticed, Google Maps doesn't have outlines. To do that, you go here and under solid line, you choose no pen. Done. Beautiful Google Maps. It looks like somewhere in, like an empty island somewhere in the north of Russia. Now I want to talk about like if you're making mistakes somewhere. For example, like you've been spending a lot of time on something and oh wow, look at this error we just made. We kind of made this kind of crossing point. You see that green spot? And you want to undo that. So to do that, let's first head to the spot somewhere close to where we were. And now either press delete or just hold it until we get to that point, okay? So it's gonna undo our little effort and start going again. So this is how you kind of fix it. One problem is I have a very reflexive finger, so I sometimes right click a lot. I don't know, I didn't even mention that you need to right click to close up the gap, like do a finish thing. Anyway, sometimes I just right click by accident and this finishes the shape. Do not worry, okay? Do not worry, all right? Make your ID 2, name it Apple, and let's say we want to edit this spot. So let's save first, save both, and save water, these buttons. Sorry, I'm not really explaining well. What you want to do is use this tool right here, reshape features, and one thing you're gonna notice is if you start on land, you need to end on land. So if that makes sense, I'm starting here, yes, and I'm gonna draw a shape like this, and I'm gonna end here. And what's gonna happen is nothing is gonna happen because we have started on the land and ended on the water. You need to start on the layer and end on the layer, if that makes sense. So we're gonna do this again, but we're gonna end this inside of here and right click. And we haven't done anything because it snapped here for some reason. I don't know why it did that. We're gonna do this again. I saw that snap happen. There we go. This is gonna work. And right click. So now we have this kind of old dude with a beard, like Serj Trajan. Trajan? I forgot how it's pronounced. With devil horns or whatever. But we're gonna focus on creating like some island and we're gonna work on it if that's okay with you, my dear friends, because we want to deal with very specific level of detail. So once you're done creating major continents, or first let's give it names so we see what names they are. Even though Google doesn't do it, we're gonna do it. We're gonna do it because we are rebels of the labels. We press text, and Google uses and allows you to use this font called Roboto. That's what they use in Google Maps a lot. So Roboto, I already downloaded it. You don't have it, most likely. Download it on fonts.google.com or google.com/fonts. I don't know, whichever it should work. And so bold it or black it. I think it's black for, well, we don't know. They don't name continents. Ugh. So black, and they have this kind of outline, which is the kind of 50% 50% visible. So we add a buffer, which is outline, add a text buffer, enable it. It's gonna be white by default. almost. It's kind of grayish, but it should work for you, doesn't matter. Make it, the size doesn't matter. She said, put it back to 50% or something. Depends how you're gonna look at it. 50, and okay. And it's gonna look like this, and it's almost perfect. I think we shouldn't make it black, we should make it bold. Yeah, just about that. Just in case, I think it's just even slightly more percentage. So, as in less percentage, make it like maybe 40 or 35. I can't see it well because the actual contents themselves are kind of white grayish. We should see once we add more like forests and stuff. Okay? Okay. Alright. Now we want to add, I don't know, let's say contour maps. Contour maps are interesting to work with. One thing which is kind of sad, but there is ways to circumvent it, but you will need to just draw over these continents again, which I'm gonna help you with, don't worry about it. Create a layer, new shapefile. Alright, sorry, I'm losing focus again. What are we doing? Contour maps. Contours. Or just contours. It's all maps, so I call it map, right? Everything as always. Now here, what we need is to have integer of height. And it's gonna be in meters most likely, but we're not gonna change anything else. Add to field. So far we're not gonna add anything else. Okay, length of 10 is fine. And before we do anything else, let's do something in the contours. Go to double-click contours, attribute forms, form, ID, and in a default value type maximum, round brackets, I don't know how you guys, Americans or British people call it, ID +1. I don't like that. Hope you can see it. I hope the video kind of shows what to write. If it doesn't, I'm gonna be too lazy to edit it anyway, so you're out of luck. Okay. Toggle editing and add polygon feature, and this time we're gonna use this kind of snapping thing. Enable it, and instead of using all layers, which we shouldn't, we should check advanced configuration, open snapping options, settings, whatever, and take our continents, and we're gonna not change anything here. We can change tolerance to about 24 pixels. Depends. It depends on your comfort zone. You're gonna see what I mean. And avoid overlap doesn't matter. No, actually, don't take that. We don't need to avoid overlap. Okay. Save everything and start working. So as you see, it's snapping. It has this purple thingy. And as I move away from it, you can see that 24 pixels coming into effect. So it appears at 24 pixels. It was 24, right? I don't remember. I already forgot. 24 pixels, yes. This means it's 24 pixels. If you zoom in, it's still gonna be 24 pixels. Oh, sorry, the vertices. If you want to trace not just vertices but segments or segment is basically, if you have done 3D before, segment is an edge, an area is just a whole polygon. So area is basically vertex plus segment in a way. We don't need to take any of those, we only need vertex. Make sure that is the case. And we're gonna trace it, okay? Just like that. And we're gonna miss some, don't worry about it, it doesn't matter. It's gonna be not clean because at the in the best scenario, you're still gonna be editing your continent map in the end later on. So just a rough kind of height thingy. If you remember, we set a default so it increments the maximum ID every time, so you don't have to type it. But when you create your first thing, sorry, fuck, I need to. Now I have to edit that out. Just kidding, too lazy. Anyway, just put one in here. Don't worry about it. And a height of 0, because 0 meters from the water. Okay. Doesn't matter what we do here much, but I want to show how exactly that stuff works. It seems like we are gonna be working with this continent. We don't create any new islands. It's okay. What I wanted to do is, okay, so contour maps, as you may know, work in a way that, okay, before I do anything, turn off snapping. Make sure to turn off snapping, because now we're gonna be creating 50, or let's just say, let's work from the top, so we can kind of have 2000, and you're gonna notice that it didn't appear, but the things are incrementing, right? Free the ID, so we don't have to touch ID anymore. We could put 2000 here if we want, or 1900 for the sake of it. The problem we are seeing it, kind of, but only once you save it, and it's not always going to be properly shown. To make sure that it's shown properly, the reason it's kind of showing, it's based on ID, so if I put something like, let me double check. This is going to be 1000, right? We're going to save this, and it's going to overwrite the thing on top, because the ID is higher. But we don't want that. So we go to properties, go to symbology, and in layer rendering, control feature rendering order. You tick that. Click this button on the right, which your window is probably going to be a bit more compact. Make sure to make it bigger for later, because you're going to be needing a lot of space. Click that, and in expression, you want to choose height. And we need to think. So what has high priority? Descending or ascending? Well, obviously something what's on top. So we want descending, which is going to be shown on top. Click OK, OK, and I'm sorry. I probably said things incorrectly. I only did this a couple times in my entire life. Let's do ascending then, as it wants. Okay, and there you go. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I warned you. This is not gonna be a perfect professional video. Now I'm embarrassed. Now you have to teach me. Anyway, so contours, right? Let's just add a few more so we can... Okay, so before that, we probably want to see the numbers of what these contours are. So double click contours, labels, single labels, or you want rule-based labeling if you want. I suggest rule-based labeling, but first create a label like this, single label, and then switch to rule-based labeling. Click OK. Right? It's gonna do this. Save. and switch to rule-based labeling. So this thing appears and created by default. Or just click the plus button. It's whatever. I don't know, I used to do that a lot. Now we want the height to display on these lines, but we want it to repeat. And we also want to have a little bit of a buffer. The font I like to use is small fonts. I think it's inbuilt inside of QGIS. I'm not 100% sure. It's my favorite font to use in maps because it takes a little space. It's very readable, unless you're watching a video like this one at 720p or something. Buffer, you want to make it smaller, but not too small, because the text is tiny. And we want the placement to be using perimeter curved. Click on the line, unclick above line, and in repeating labels, you want to set something like 100 millimeter, 50, I don't know, 20 maybe. We'll see. Let's click OK and apply. And it's a bit too many. Though it doesn't appear on the right for some reason. Probably didn't load properly. But it's cool, I guess. No, it's too much. Obviously too much. What am I thinking? I'm sorry. I'm kind of losing my focus again. Let's make it 45. And this should be perfect. Yep, no, kind of. Don't take my word for it, but I kind of like it. Now, what do we want to do? Let's say we want like a comma after each third letter, each third symbol, each third number from the end. So for that, we need to go here in the label, click this button, or just type it in here, doesn't matter, but click this button, please. Inside of height, we want to format number. Height is going to be our number. If you want, you can get rid of these brackets. It doesn't really matter. Places, we want... Well, I think it's going to work like this, right? Yep. Okay, and okay, and okay. Now, if you look at Google Terrain Map, I'm not sure if they do this actual format. Let me double check. Let's check together. Let's go to Morocco. If you zoom in real bad, or real good, depends. Right, we kind of write this. We don't have a commas, but we write meters. I just do whatever, man. Whatever dangles your dangle. They also use a Roboto font as always. Why wouldn't they? They use kind of italic, I think. Why are they using italic? I don't know. Just do whatever. We're done with this kind of. Let's work on the contour thing itself. Now, I like to color my what am I talking about? Am I talking? Am I living? Right, graduated. Value, height. I'm sorry if you're kind of losing focus just like I am. It's kind of gonna be like that. Oh boy. Alright. So here we're gonna choose hold up. There should be a yeah, there we go. So maybe I should make a second video on this because how long we've been going? Oh, almost an hour. This is an absolute webinar. I'm so sorry that you have learned so little in so much time. if you have learned something. So click this and choose one of these. What we want is a contour map which shows how high something is. Now, you're not going to be happy with the result, you're going to be tweaking it a lot. What I would do, I think, is I'm gonna okay this, I guess, for now. I'm gonna go to my previous world. I'm gonna load up a thing. How is the contour map here? Contours right here, and I have this kind of stuff. This works best for me. Depends on your heights. But I think you can save this. If I'm not mistaken, you can save this. Save color lamp. Color lamp. Oh god, I'm so fricked. I'm gonna save this. Default. Contour lamp. Save. Should have added to favorites. I think it's saved, but just in case, I'm gonna styles copy. You don't have to follow me. You don't even know what I'm doing. As in, you don't have an original file. What if I paste style and symbology? There you go. And should have worked. Something is not showing up for me. Heights, yeah, right. There we go. So it would look like that. Once again, we have messed up our orders. Hold up, did we? Okay. Fuck. Stay with me, I'm sorry. Press properties, legend, opacity slider. Add this to used widgets. Okay. And expand this, turn down the opacity. Just enough. And we're gonna make sure that everything is fine here. Gonna symbology. All right, because it messed up the item. We need height. Okay. There we go. It looks a bit different from mine because we don't really have a lot of land to work from. But this is just basic of how you do the contours. I'm probably gonna have to do another video like this because oh my god. I can't be arsed, I'm sorry. This is really draining to talk about. And there's probably so many much better videos who just do that. In fact, when I uploaded the video, I figured someone else could have probably made a video like this. And lo and behold, someone did. On world building too. I didn't check the video yet. I'm sure they probably talk much more clearly. Explain things better. I just hope I'm teaching you something at least, because what the hell is the point then? Anyway, right, we got the heights. Got islands. We don't really have islands. Let's finish a contour map by yourself, just so you can understand how I did the lines like that. It's in simple fill. You have a dash line stroke style, and you make a stroke with a hairline, which is the tiniest it can be. It cannot go any lower, sadly, because it can't really go smaller than 1 pixel, unless you have anti-aliasing, which then, at this point, just lower the opacity. I just messed up something. Anyway. We got the contours. Now let's say you want to add cultures. Like, let me think if that's gonna be interesting for you. What can you learn from this? Okay, I have an idea. We can talk about, let's create some regions, right? Regions, polygon, CRS of projects, and name. Make it a length of maybe name 100, 120. And just add it, doesn't matter, it's just put something like that. We'll have a region ID 1 pineapple region. Save. We're gonna add a couple more, but first, in attribute forms, as always, default value maximum ID +1. You can also do maximum ID +1 inside, and it should work just as well, but I like to close the brackets and +1 at the end. It's like more, it makes more sense. To me. I don't know about you. Up to. The name, we can change. Okay. Add a couple more regions, add a snapping, make it active layer, so we can snap stuff together. It's not gonna snap properly because we're using stream digitizing and it's always gonna be like this. Donut. Did I already do donut? No, donut region. And let's say this one we're gonna do without a stream. That's okay. We're gonna, of course, I'm gonna label it name, apply. You'll notice that QGIS by default almost always tries to find name to make a label. So that's a very cool feature. Wow. I don't know why I said that. That's something cool. I don't know. Don't listen to me. I don't know what to talk about anymore. Maybe I should just mute myself and just do the work. Anyway, shape burst fill is a nice little tool to work with countries. One thing you just need to change is depends, because the fact is you're probably gonna be coloring it differently, and then it kind of messes a couple things up. Like, let me hold on a sec. Let me copy this, copy that, and I'll pass it down to make this a thingy and symbology, and then switch it to categorized and apply and classify. Oops. Before I delete that, yeah, sorry. Switch to name, apply, and classify. And of course it's gonna do that. Yep, I thought so. So we're gonna go back to this. And we're gonna make this a white color. Opacity. Okay. There's probably ways to circumvent that through code, but we're not going to do that. Anyway, there's a country thing. Oh god, it's horrible. You would probably want some kind of outline for this. So if you want to outline, you have to create a new layer for this, because this one doesn't have, well, it depends. There could be an effect, like you can add a drop shadow or something, but it might make it look weird, so don't do that. Instead, add a layer here. Simple fill, change that to nothing. Just keep a simple fill. Choose a simple fill style to nothing, no brush. Make it a solid line or dot line, dash line, dot line. And actually we want it to line because once it's kind of like touches the other borders, it's gonna look weird. Alright, and okay, and it looks even more horrible. Please don't be disappointed in me. There is reason for everything. But not this. But still, trust me. So, there's the regions. And let's say you want to add cultures. Right, I should have probably made it cultures instead of regions. Okay, let's say it's pineapple donuts balloon people. The shapefile. And we want to add settlements, right? So settlements. Settlements, yay! Right? And you have points, rectangular, name, and region, but it's gonna be like a culture. Yeah. Add. So, in the settlements, we're gonna first do the maximum thing. As always do that to save time later. In the name, we're not gonna do anything. In the region, however, we're gonna change the widget type to value relation, layer regions, key column name, value column name, description column name. And look what that's gonna do, right? We're gonna create a new settlement somewhere here, and ID1 name the city. Amazing. And you choose a region. So we are in the pineapple region, right? And click OK. Now you would probably wonder how to do it automatically. There is ways to do it, but do not. Maybe. Probably don't. The best tools in QGIS are for things which don't ever change much. It's hard to explain, but just trust me, okay? What we're gonna do is, okay, settlements are easy. There's nothing really to talk about settlements, okay? It's a name, and it's gonna be the city. What we want to do is roads. I wanted to do intercity roads, talk about them, but there is really nothing else about them. What I want to talk about is roads when they connect. And make a shapefile. Roads, line string, and name if you want a road name. Yeah, we will need a road name, okay? And now you can have a width or have a type. I like to have types. Length of 2 really. It's gonna be up to 10, up to 2 digits. You can make it 1 if you want, doesn't matter. Type 0, okay. And we can make roads. Let's say, first, let's set defaults. So we're gonna create a few roads. This one is always type, make it by default type 0. We're not gonna edit anything here for now. Name, we're not gonna touch. Let's change symbology to just the default road. You actually should have in the symbols here down below at top of road. It's basically just a line and a simple line on below, which is just thicker, just a bigger stroke width, if that makes sense. If you see 0.86, 1.06. That's basically how you make roads. You can change anything, doesn't matter. You can make this, well, I'm gonna show later. First, let's keep it millimeters, okay? Just for the sake of showing things. So you want a road which, let's say, let's turn on streaming, kind of like that. ID, banana street, ST for street. All right. Let's, for the sake of it, actually do it like it's supposed to be. In the streets, in here, we're gonna switch this to meters at scale. Meters at scale, right? And we're gonna change it. Okay, let's think. A road is usually about, I used to be looking that stuff up a lot. I would say, let's say 5 meters for this case. Let's say 5 meters. And let's say 6, 7, let's say 1 meter each per sidewalk or something. That's already unrealistic. This should be fine. Click OK. And where did it go? Well, it's tiny. What did you think? Right here. Okay. Yeah, that seems just about right. Let's add a name for it. Let's see. Single label, name, Roboto. Let's see. Let me zoom in on the actual street in Google Maps. Terrain, but it's. I'm gonna sneeze, am I not? I will not be sneezing, but oh my god, my dolos feel so bad. Default. There we go. Yeah, they do kind of have a similar style, so I could have even copied the thing, but Roboto, bald, buffer of about, let's make it 40%. Banana Street, look at that! That's almost beautiful, except it's not correct. Why is it not correct? Because the placement needs to be curved and on the line, like that, and it needs to be bigger. Now, let's say we want the size. No, let's first talk about something else before we get there, because roads are a very serious topic we do need to cover. So keep this active layer, right? But we need to change this to segment. We want to add a road connecting to Banana Street. So let's do that. Let's make a road connecting to Banana Street, like that. Chicken Street. Type 0. Okay. That example. So what happened here is it worked, but sometimes, most of the time, it's not gonna. This time it worked because looks like this symbol comes with symbol levels already enabled, right? But let's disable it for a moment. By default, it's going to be disabled for most of the stuff that you're not gonna be using the styles here. So it's gonna look like this. But now, well, spoiler, we did kind of spoil it for you now, and you enable it in advanced in your symbology and click OK, and it works. So this is what I wanted to really cover about this. If you want to change the shape of a road, you're going to be using the vertex tool mostly. You're going to want to disable snapping, and you can curve it like that. Though, if you want, you can use the same reshape features tool we have covered before and kind of do a thing like that. It's kind of hard to know where the center line is, but you can reshape things with this tool if you know kind of how it works. Right? So, okay, we connected these two things. Now let's say this chicken street is, or let's add another street which is type 1. It's a different type, right? So we're gonna enable snapping. Sorry, I'm hitting my books at the, which are holding the monitor, so I'm kind of getting wiggly lines. Name second type street, or first type rather, since we started with 0. Okay. Bad example to connect things. It's kind of funny. Disable snapping. Okay, let's say this road is thinner, because we don't really want this to be thicker. So we change the type. Now where the code comes in handy, kind of. It's semi-code, it's scripting. Okay, relax, it's not C#. It's kind of JavaScriptish or Pythonish. Yeah, it's Pythonish. It's Python, basically. So let's say what the first thing we want to do is, well, just fin it, I guess, really, not much else. We're not going to be editing this, we're going to be editing this instead. So you see these boxes on the right side? This is where you click edit on the stroke width, and this is our thickest line. So we're going to make this case end. Case end is basically a switch or an if statement, kind of, but it's more of a switch statement, if you're familiar with those. Case when, this is where the if kind of comes in. Case when is going to be our condition. So case when type equals to 1, that, or let's say 0, our default, then our answer should be 7, just like it is now. When type, or just in this case, it's going to be else 5. So if there's any other type and 0, it's going to be 5. So let's double check. And first type becomes 5. Good. Let's copy this whole code, and in here we're gonna edit, paste it, switch 7 to 5, 5 to 3, or actually 4. We don't need so much sidewalk, we need half a meter sidewalk for this. And it becomes that, really. There is not much to it, I guess. What else to say to you? One thing you might kind of want to tweak at the end is the ends of these things. It's going to be more prevalent once the different roads start to not make a lot of sense. For example, let's say You will never see a large road go into a small kind of intersection, if that makes sense. I don't know if that makes sense, but let's say you would have, okay, bad example. Let's start from snapping like that. And we're gonna make this a type 0. Or actually, yeah, 0. And you're gonna have this kind of artifact. Because, well, realistically, there is no point in urban planning to make roads like this. At least I don't think so. Why would you move a large road to meet up with a small one? Usually it should be a small one meeting up with a large one. I don't know. I'm not an urban planner. Don't quote me on this. Don't make a full video on me about this, okay? I don't know. If you want to fix this, here's where it comes in handy. What comes in handy, rather. So you have this join style here and cap style. So you want to switch this to a different thing. That's basically it. If you want to fine tune it, you can also edit this and change this to code. I'm sorry, I'm getting too fucked up. I'm sorry. I'm getting fucked up. Oh, what a fucking video! Holy shit. Anyway, that's okay. Never create road like this. Even if you do, program it yourself, man. I'm not doing it for you. Or I'll do it for you, okay? I'll do it. Just send me a map, I'll do it for you. Not on the video. So we're talking about roads, the overlaps, and that's really all I really wanted to talk about. There's really nothing much else. Like, this is just the whole basics of QGIS you really must know before you go into the whole big boy stuff. Something about. I'm not sure if I want to talk about this. Yeah, let's not talk about that. Let's not talk about the copyright stuff. Let me think. Just dragging on the video. Honestly, look, let's talk a little bit about IRL maps, I guess. And IRL maps work in the same fashion of like like I said, you double click one of these things. If you haven't added these, that means you need to add it through new connection. I already talked about the links at the beginning. You double click to make it appear, and you put it. Oh, we already had one. Right. I'm sorry. Didn't see that. Forgot totally. But let's see. We'll replace that street in real life comparison. We're in the ocean. Huh? Yeah, okay. Next to Brazil, Venezuela. We are in Atlantic Ocean. In the city. Okay. Anyway. A couple more things, I guess. Sometimes you want to do arrows. For example, like wind directions or directions of like attack, like Hearts of Iron kind of planning stuff. Arrows here do work kind of weird, as in it's not super great. I'm gonna show, I guess. Create later. Attack. Line string. Don't matter. Okay. Attack and let's do it. So you add a curve thingy. If you are familiar, you start the starting point, you add a middle point, which is gonna be the curve is not gonna touch it likely. And you add a second point. and click OK. And we're gonna switch this to this pointing arrow. You can use any kind of style, doesn't matter. But okay, in this case it does touch it. But okay, let's talk about what happens when you add more points, kind of like that. You kind of have this kind of thing happening. And it might be good for you. I don't know if you're making them some kind of recycling program or something. I'm sorry. I don't know. It could be useful. For me, it's not. If I want to like add wiggles or something, and it's not exactly. You can't really go around this. Uh, that's it. You really can't go around this. There's probably ways to. I don't know. You have to use either like your own vectors, like upload your own SVGs or raster, or raster and SVGs. Raster is your basic PNG images and stuff. Vector is mathematical formulas or coordinates of and color information in a plain text file, basically, for for big projects, I guess, or for like cartoon animation. It's hard to explain, but I'm getting out of my league, I guess. I don't know what else to tell you guys. I'm probably gonna redo this video at some point, but I did promise to the other comments in our video that I will do it this week, and it's Sunday, so you get this mess. I'm sorry, but that's what you get. That's to get. That's to get. Please on Discord, Bobby Pokey hashtag 0001. DM me. I will explain things better instead of just trying to fit this in 1 hour, which is already like almost 1.5. Okay. That's it, really. Patreon coffee. I don't think you're gonna want to support that anymore. I will shill it next video. Bye.